It's Not Another Buffalo Podcast, hosted by three of the most underqualified sports personalities this side of the canal. With John.
There's no way in hell that I can leave that in, right?
You don't think so?
Well, to quote Rage Against the Machine, what better place than here? And, what better time than now?
And Brando.
We have this trust built on, whatever it is, like Bibles and gold bricks and whatever Brandon Bean's drinking over there.
All right, welcome back to Not Another Buffalo Podcast. I'm John. I'm here with Pat and Brando here on a Tuesday evening. You can find us on all platforms at Not Buff Podcast. Where do you want to start tonight, guys? Obviously an L in the books, but not the worst one of all time. Not even the worst one of this season. So, Brando, I guess I'll start with you. How you feeling about stuff?
It was a trap.
Trap game?
It's a trap game.
No, I don't know. We talked about it for like half a second, and in my brain, I was just thinking about, John, do you think this is a trap game? Nah. I just thinking about that a lot as this game was happening. It was upsetting, and the whole time, it's like, we're not out of it, right? The whole time I'm watching this game, like, we're not out of it. We're not out of it. Give Allen an opportunity to really own this MVP, right? The whole time I'm watching this game, I'm just like, come on. How many third downs can we get? How many, you're 3rd and 10, you're 3rd and 12, you're 3rd and 9, you're 3rd and 8, you're 3rd and 7, and you can't get a stop. I'm just screaming at the TV. Give Allen an opportunity to be Hercules because he is being Hercules right now. So it was really disappointing. It's crazy. His MVP odds went from like minus 200 to minus 400, even though they lost, which is cool. That I keep it going, but it's disappointing, right? It is disappointing. My guy, Matt Stafford, probably perfect quarterback right now to play against this Bills defense. You need a guy that can read the play, pick up the blitz, adjust the pressure, call the audibles at the line. And he did all that. And when the Bills finally tried to bring pressure, he only got hit 3 times. He was only pressured 3 on 40 dropbacks. He completed 23 passes, averaged 14 yards of completion. So I've been telling my students and my basketball team, the Bills made mistakes on their own end. They didn't execute on offense to start, right? They got in a big hole. Special teams was a big deal, but they also got beat by good players on good plays. And, the Nacua catch over Taron Johnson, it's just like, I feel kind of bad for him because that was a perfect throw. It was perfect. Couldn't be any better.
Pinpoint accuracy. That's a microcosm of the game, right?
Yeah. You got beat by a Hall of Fame quarterback who's a Super Bowl winner, a Super Bowl winning head coach. He knew what to do against this Bills defense. He relayed it to his quarterback. And say what you want, I'm not mad about, I was mad at the time, but I'm not as mad about the coaching gaffes because you let up 36 points on your defense, right? Stop the punt from being blocked and you win the game.
How do you feel when that's your defensive head coach, though? There's
terrible, obviously. Terrible. I feel terrible. But I kind of want to hear how you guys feel first before I get into how I really feel about the coaching behind it. We don't need to get too deep into it, but the fact that Allen did what he did, it's been a while since he's been pushed in a way that we need to see this. And that was the other thing. When, the Bills got down, I don't know if you were in on it too, but like I'm hammering the Bills like +7, right? It's like, give me the points, because Allen's coming back. So the live betting's fun. Allen's never out of a game, but you need to have a stop sometimes, and we didn't get it. So it was disappointing.
Yeah. So I want to hear, Pat, I want to hear your side of the story because I heard that there was, not only was this Bills team trying to make adjustments, but I heard that Pat was making some superstition adjustments mid-game. So take me through the play-by-play of how this game unfolded in the Caprio household.
Yeah. So, it started second half. Elizabeth said, well, you haven't really done any gritties, and I said, well, that's stupid. I don't really think I have to do that, but I did a couple of them for good measure. But after Ty Johnson caught that touchdown on that super long run after catch, I did not put my son down. Did not matter what he wanted. He was watching the game with me 6 inches from the TV until it ended. Until he kicked that onside kick, but so
right, so close. That's funny. Yeah. It was that kind of game too, where it's like, I was upset a lot of the time too. I was really upset at some of the coaching decisions at the end, but that game is just another example of like, you're never out of it with Josh Allen. Any other quarterback in the league besides the one who plays in Kansas City, like you're pretty much done in that game.
I don't agree with that. I think Mahomes is out of it if they're down 18 points.
I'm just saying, like,
every
as
time
far
we
as
say
like
that,
the magician
the black
stuff,
magic
like,
cauldron bubbles over.
This
right,
dude in
exactly,
Kansas City,
exactly.
They haven't scored more than 30 points in God knows how long, though. You
Right,
know,
but
say,
if they need a 2-minute drive, and it's like it's guaranteed, right? Like it's just always kind of been that way. Like I know he's not the huge comeback guy lately, but they have been. Maybe not this year, but what were they down 24 points to the Texans in a playoff game?
So long,
you know,
ago,
it's like
though.
I know that's a long time ago, but so I don't know. Allen is the MVP. That should be my takeaway of the game. My takeaway is just kind of like, Like I feel like I don't know, Gru's mother when he's trying to build a macaroni rocket. I'm just like, You know, it's like the 1 seed race. It would have been so nice if the Chiefs had dropped one, and that,
they still can, man.
That kick
they
doinks the other way. Of course, they can still drop some games here, but honestly, like there's some minutia to that as well. If you believe in the theory of like you learn more from a loss than you do from a win, right?
Yeah.
And so the theories behind that, like the 16-0 Patriots who lose the Super Bowl, right? These teams who go on runs at the end of the season and then don't address their weaknesses, and then it gets exposed in the playoffs, which you could say that might be the Bills the past few years. So it's like if you have this game, that's that might be a potential positive we can take away from this. Yeah. If you get your face beat in on defense, that might, force you to look in the mirror if you're everybody in that building and figure out what went wrong and how are we going to fix it and how are we going to prevent a Joe Burrow-like figure, a Patrick Mahomes-like figure, even a Justin Herbert from doing that in the playoffs or any of these other teams that have really potent offenses. A Lamar Jackson,
He's
for
the
sure. So,
one.
Well, to go what you said, John, I mean, you watched the game. I said it earlier, only 3 quarterback pressures through the whole thing. So we're addressing our need. I mean, we're taking every defensive lineman that's available in college football with our draft picks, right? Those extra couple of draft picks, put them on the D-line. You going back-to-back DNs again? Sure, throw them on the roster, Brandon Bean. I know you're going to do it.
Wasn't that like
we know you want to do it.
Some sort of statistical anomaly, right? So you have no sacks by either defense, and then I think no tackles for loss by either defense.
No turnovers either.
So no TFLs, no interceptions, no sacks. Very strange. I know the Bills had no negative offensive plays. I don't know about the Rams, but just very
interesting.
Yeah.
Strange.
So interesting. Yeah, it was definitely one of those games. And also, Pat, to go off of what you were just saying too, Josh Allen over the last 2 games also has 0 negative plays over that two game span in the snow game as well. Yeah, over the last 2 games, 5 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown, 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles, 0 turnovers, sacked 0 times, 0 negative plays from Allen over the last 2 weeks. It's just insane. I can't believe you went 1-1 in that stretch as well. Like if you would have told me that the Bills put up 42 points, Allen scored 6 touchdowns, and they lost, like again,
245-0 until this day.
Right. I would be. I'm almost coming out of this week grateful again because this wasn't a playoff game. Like, could you imagine if this is how they lost in the playoffs after you
McDermott might get fired.
He might. It might be.
Playoffs,
it might be.
Might be fireable.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might be.
I'm not calling for it.
Not really. But I mean, we all know Terry is going to stick with the guy who doesn't embarrass him, but like, come on.
Then he's got the whole Sabres organization.
Well, someone should have told that to Tom Golisano when he got a little assed up with Lindy Ruff, and maybe we would be in the same position. I mean, well, Lindy V1, Mach 1 Lindy, but
Mach 1 Lindy.
Version 1. This dude's totally different from that if you listen to him now, but we'll get to the Sabres here in a minute. Can I give you my coaching take on McDermott real quick?
Sure.
The thought behind Sean McDermott here is that when you look at Sean McVay across the sidelines, the dude's going for it on 4th down, right? And McDermott did it. He went for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal of death against the Chiefs. We got the Josh Allen moment. And just to be in the headspace of my defense has not stopped Allen, so we're going to go for it right now is where I want to be, right? That's a good head coach making a good decision. And I just want to say, I wonder if, and again, I guess we should circle back to this in a second, but I wonder if they would have gone for it on 4th and 7 rather than the 4th and 5 that they ended up with. But anyway, keep going. Are you upset about the penalty?
Very,
because I'm
very.
not.
I'm almost more upset about that than the play call to try to rush it into the end zone and getting stopped, because like again, or the timeout, right? So again, like that timeout probably doesn't matter if you're not going to be able to stop them for 3 plays in the first place,
right?
Which is a big if. And it's like you're almost guaranteed a completion on play action the way that they were playing as well. Whereas like I think that 4th and 7 is long enough that they either would have tried the field goal, but I don't know if they would have went for it on that 4th and 7. And I guess now that I'm talking myself through it, I could hear like maybe that field goal was long enough. Where I'm just assuming they would have kicked the field goal. If you're assuming they would kick the field goal, which I think there's a good chance they would have, but that is the field goal of death, right? Because you go up 6 and you're giving Allen the ball back with over 2 minutes left. That's what we want, right? Are they going to even allow that to happen? Or would you rather hand Allen the ball at midfield up 3, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
McDermott, to all of his defensive excellences, was betting on his defense to do better, and they didn't. So you just need a play. You need a stop. You need to stop them one time. And I'm not mad that they pushed them back, because it is that's such a high probability play or low probability completion, right? But you gotta know that a good coach, Dan Campbell, Kyle Shanahan, they're not going for the 15 yards to pick up the first down. They want 10. They want 8. Right. They want to give their guy an opportunity to get close, and they're going to go for it. So the thing that bothers me about McDermott is I want to know if he can realize that his timeout like wrecked the game, right? Does he know? Is the hindsight there to be? Because you could, like Josh, I felt like I saw it instantly. Josh runs over to McDermott and they're talking about that timeout, right? When he doesn't get the sneak. And mind you, Allen is like 43 of 45 in his career on 1 yard sneaks, right?
Right.
The one in Tennessee.
Yep. Was there for that one.
Yeah. So you can count on 3 fingers the times that he doesn't pick up 1 yard as a sneak, right? So I think this is one of those times you might blame Allen. I'm not blaming McDermott, because if you look at the motion on the play, maybe it's Alec Anderson is motioning over and Allen snaps it just like a little too soon, and Allen Anderson can't get the push from behind him because Allen was kind of freeballing it. And I'm not going to be mad at Allen for doing that. He's done it 95% of the time in his entire career. So I'm cool with that. What I'm not cool about is just get up and do it again. Yeah. Go do it again. I don't care.
And then McDermott said some stuff about like he was worried that the Rams were going to ham it up and lay on offensive linemen that were down and stuff. And I don't know. It's just very bizarre.
Mike Shope went off.
Well,
on
Tom
this.
Brady was having a stroke during the cast. I don't know.
Shout out to Brady.
Can we talk about Brady as a whole, like through the broadcast?
I love Tom Brady.
Like,
honestly, dude,
he's
freaking sick. I didn't think I would ever say this, but I like Tom Brady as an announcer a lot.
Okay. All right, Pat, I want to have a back and forth with this, because like I want to hear what makes Brady good in the broadcast booth, because I think he's terrible to listen to.
John's fired up. John's face is red. He's mad. What? John's mad that he doesn't like Pat. Yeah.
No. I love Pat. I love Pat.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it like that. John's mad that Pat likes Tom Brady, right? Yeah.
Right. This is some version of Stockholm syndrome going on right now.
No, but like Tom Brady is like Well, I don't think he watches the show, but he kind of reminds me of like B-Pop a little bit. Like, he's like, he means so well, and like, well, his voice cracks a little bit. And I also like Tom because he's like Chris Collinsworth, except he really likes Josh and Pat. So
that's true. Also, okay, I have something to say about Chris Collinsworth as well, because he was on the Manning Cast last night, and I actually really enjoyed his time on the Manning Cast. But dude, I'm telling you, Chris Collinsworth is a person that you're hanging out with way cooler than Chris Collinsworth, the commentator.
Well, I just know
I know you're not going to go back and watch the Manning Cast, but he was a lot of fun actually talking to the Manning brothers and stuff like that. So
interesting.
Well, I do know.
Seemed like a much cooler guy than he is in the broadcast booth. But anyway, Tom Brady. Tom Brady sounds like he's coaching a peewee team. And he's like coaching the players instead of interpreting what's happening. He's like this guy, you got to do this way.
True.
Like this guy should be doing this way. And then he starts yelling. I mean, I know he was losing his voice, but if you've ever heard him on other broadcasts, he kind of sounds like somebody who has earplugs in and doesn't realize that they're talking loud. He's kind of yelly.
That might be happening.
Yeah, his voice
that might
cracks
actually be the truth, though. Yeah.
And he was wearing that
So I
tie.
don't know if he's not used to the whole like headphone thing where he's like not hearing his voice loud enough and it's loud. And so I don't know. Again, he's trying his best and that's great, but he was great at quarterbacking and we don't all have to be good at more than one thing.
He loves Josh, I guess is my sentiment. That he would never, Josh could throw 5 picks in a game and Tom would be like, that's an elite player right there, you know, and not that
that's true, but who doesn't love Josh, right? Like who doesn't love Josh?
Dolphins fans, I'll say it every single time we say that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
I'm on Team Pat here because I didn't dislike him as somebody. Okay, I don't know if you've paid attention to like sports media, but everybody's losing their voice in like everywhere. So I felt a little bit better about myself because I still am not 100% with my voice. But Brady, you know, all the WGR guys were like grinding it out last week. You know, the challenge of speaking, right? And but like Brady, he's an analyst too. And you know, we got so enamored with Tony Romo being like, well, this guy should be running an out route and it's gonna open up the running back and the flare on the seam, whatever, you know, all that.
And that version
nonsense.
of Tony is gone.
Yeah, Tony is drunk dad
like,
watching the game in real time with you.
Yeah.
Right.
So
he's just making noises. Also, do you pay attention to the noises that Brady makes? Like when Puka Nacua made that catch, like Tom Brady, how do I say this? I can't say it. It sounded like he was doing something else. Like he's just,
The pleasure meter was 10 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Pat. It's just like noises are coming out of his mouth on the broadcast. And then there's like this awkward pause. And then who's the Fox main guy? Who's the play-by-play guy? Help me out. Nobody knows.
It's not Kenny Albert, right?
No, it's not Kenny Albert. Nobody knows this guy because as soon as Buck and Aikman were gone, he became the number one.
Greg Olson.
Oh, there's Kenny Albert's.
No. Greg Olson is a color guy.
Kevin Burkhardt.
Thank you. Sorry, Kevin Burkhardt and family members of Kevin Burkhardt who are very offended right now. They couldn't remember the top team of the Fox broadcast. But anyway,
we remember Greg Olson though.
I'm just gonna say, so like I usually, you know, my family, we all live in different states, so we FaceTime once a week, usually on Sundays, and we FaceTimed at halftime during the game, and it kind of bled into the second half a little bit. I'm just gonna say, like, experience-wise, the best part of that game was when it was on mute for me. Like, not listening to Brady's voice for a solid 5 to 10 minutes was a nice, like, reclusive, I don't know, repose, recompense, whatever word I'm using incorrectly. It's just a nice little break from Brady. Funny. I felt better.
But Tom Brady
time,
was edging us so hard to get hyped about the comeback. He kept being like the Rams were up 17, and after they were up 17, Brady's like, well, great play, but let's be real, 17 on the other, you know. He just was very much like pushing for the comeback. He just was downplaying every Rams successful scoring drive, which did also kind of get
that's
me
true.
But
that's true. Later in the game, I also may have been talking over Brady, so I might have missed a lot of what he said based on things that I was yelling at the screen and could not hear them over that. But
well, when McDermott messes up and he's like, "Oh no, you can't do that,"
I respect that. Off. He did. It was a
great call by Brady.
It was. He should have.
That was good.
Literally, dude. He was like, you can't have 4 incomplete passes from the 1 yard line.
Yeah, exactly. He was right on for that point, but
throw it 4 times.
You know, the whole thing I was trying to say earlier is to have McDermott. Does he know that he messed up? Like, does he know that the timeout isn't right? Does he know that you need 3 timeouts on defense? I don't think he does. I don't think he does. I think he thinks that was the right call. And it's okay to mess up and admit it. Like, it's okay to be like, you know, maybe that wasn't the right use of a timeout right there. You know, maybe it was okay. We lost 10 seconds, but I needed that timeout still because at least we get a chance, right? Like your chance with the ball on the 20 with 22 seconds to go. Maybe it's 25 now. You get the ball. 30. Where do you get the ball after a kick?
30.
No.
It'd be after a punt. It wouldn't even be after a kickoff. So
true.
So you get the ball back and you got 20 seconds left, no timeouts, or you have a 2% chance to recover an onside kick. Whereas like what
7%.
Brady said it was 3.
Well, they were 3 for 39, I believe, when they kicked it. The NFL.
Yeah, this year it's like 7%. I think is the percentage.
5.2% were last year.
Which, by the way, I want to like the 4th and 15 idea.
No, that sucks.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. Yeah.
No, I'm saying I want to like it, but like I don't like that. Like I like that for Josh, but I also don't like that for like if you're raising that percentage at all. Like the onside kick percentage, if we're talking fundamentally, should be like 7%, right?
I wish it was 7%. Man, I don't know. I feel like 7%.
But I also feel like
historically,
I mean, obviously it's disregarding player safety, but it used to be a lot higher. Like when you could really just, once you cross 10 yards at 10 and 1/16,
just murder everybody.
Yeah. I don't know.
I want to read that when they changed the rules, I think I just X'd out of it. So this is not 100%, but I want to say it dropped from like 14 to 6 when they changed the rules.
14% is fun. That's fun.
That's a good number. I'm cool with that number. But what is the percent chance that the Bills can get 40 yards from the 30 with 20 seconds left with no timeouts? Is it higher than 7%?
Yes.
It's pretty low.
I think it's you have a medieval god at quarterback. You have a mythical beast as quarterback. You have all of these things. I don't know. You have we saw Gabe Davis toe touch sidelines against the Colts, right? We've seen it.
Yeah.
Done. And I feel like we've seen more comebacks than we've seen onside kick recoveries in that situation.
Oh, that's definitely for sure. We've seen more Micah Hyde returning onside kicks for touchdowns than onside kicks in that.
My question is why don't they ever, and maybe you guys can answer this with your kicking expertise, but I can remember as a kid, I mean, obviously, there's the classic, I'm not in front of my, you want the ball to rotate like that. But then a lot of people would kick it high up in the air, right at 10 yards, and then wait for the ball to, just about hit the hands of the person, on the hands team that's about to catch it, or just have someone from the coverage team beyond 10 yards grab it. What do you guys think about that in relation to, is that not a thing anymore, or?
They still do that. They have other options that they've been trying. The whole little watermelon ball where they try to tip it and make it hard to handle. But yeah, I think a big part of it is that it's actually, having had to have tried this before, I think in my entire life, I never had to try it in a game, because if we were down, we were always down by 24 or more. But
finish what you were saying.
Just doing it in practice, it's a really tough kick. It is. It's harder than a regular kickoff. It's harder than kicking it through the end zone. It's harder than a field goal. You got to get your sideways foot to hit the top of the ball at a weird angle really, really hard. And then you have to get the ball, because in order for the ball to be in play, you can't just kick it right up in the air. I was actually really good at that. I tried that once and then it didn't count. I think that was on JV.
No. Can I talk about that?
Sure.
Because I was involved in that play. That was on varsity. I had the ball go through my hands and I got murdered. You kicked it straight up in the air and me and this dude jumped for it. And it we both made contact at the same time, and some third dude came in and lights out. Boom, Brandon's dead. And I remember dropping the ball, but I was like, oh, I almost had that.
See, I thought
you kicked a beautiful kick.
I thought we recovered one, but it has to touch the ground to be live before it gets to 10 yards.
Unless the other team touches it.
Right. So if you kick it straight up in the air, you can't go and catch it on the fly for your players. So
Wait, no, you can though if the ball goes beyond 10 yards.
Generally, when you're kicking it, you don't go and kick it up. You're basically driving it into the ground, so it hits the ground and you get one of those big hops.
Gotcha.
One of those secondary hops.
Well, if you guys ever want to look through some max preps, I recovered 2 onside kicks in the same game. 2 onside kicks in the fourth quarter to win a game at CG Finney High School. You can look it up on Max Preps. Colin Schreiber, wherever you are, you probably don't watch the show, bud. True story. Look it up. Talk to our coach. Swear to God, recovered 2 onside kicks in the last 5 minutes of a game, and we won it.
Well, Pat, we might need to get you a Bills tryout at this point. I mean, maybe you and Brandon can stack each other together into one uniform and play defensive tackle. I hear we need a little bit of juice at that position.
Well, I will say that
does anybody
in Class D, Section 5 football, we went through the lineup of people on the hands team, and the kid whose jersey didn't fit quite right, and one knee pad was about 6 inches lower than the other one. We just said, all right, that kid, we're just going to tackle him before the ball gets to him, But
to make this a Bills topic, do you remember the last time the Bills recovered an onside kick in their favor?
That's an amazing question, dude. That's got to be a Tyrod Taylor.
I Googled it.
I remember all the onside kicks that recovered against us.
Or Micah Hyde's touchdown. That was a cool one.
Right.
The first thing that came up was Steve Christie recovering his onside kick in the greatest comeback at the time against the Oilers. But I couldn't find anything. I just did a little bit of research. I didn't look that hard, but
that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah. If anybody knows,
I don't remember any. I remember lots of heartbreak. The Cowboys recovering an onside kick with 30 seconds to go.
I see. It looks like Steven Hauschka and safety Shamarko Thomas, 2015.
Yeah, that guy.
Anyway,
we've gone deep into this onside kick.
I was gonna say we're way off topic. Yeah. Nobody's still listening. So let's get some game picks in here, so we can circle it back around to some relevant topics here.
Pat, do you have them pulled up?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. It's
John, you want to do them?
No, Brando, you got this, man. Your voice is good enough, right?
Let's hang it in there.
All right.
So we're gonna do a quick recap of last week. Pat, my man, my brother, you went 0-4, but it includes 2 pushes. So it's it wasn't a great showing.
0-4-2 would be better than the Sabres at this point, Pat. So
it would be better than the Sabres. Yeah. You go 0-4. Green Bay, Miami.
What do the pushes mean?
No, they don't count. They just money back on a bet. Like it doesn't count as a win.
It's a tie.
Doesn't count as a loss.
It's a tie.
Yeah, it's a tie.
So it's like Detroit was favored by 3 and they won by 3 exactly, and Miami was -6 and they won by 6 exactly. If anything, Brando, that's oh man, we got to stop putting even numbers on the spreadsheet. We got to find some half point lines here.
Yeah. Well, there's not any. Well, there's one for this week, the first game, but I'm 2-2. John's 2-2. I am 2 games back of Pat. Pat is 4 games back now of John. John is in the clear lead for the first time in a little while here.
I know it's been a second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
kudos to you
enjoy
there.
it.
Yes.
Cheers,
yes.
boys.
Do that. So cheers to that, brother. Vitamin water on tap.
Mm-hmm.
Brought to you by
very hoppy vitamin water.
You get the dragon fruit still these days?
Tasty. Always, it's the only liquid I put into my body besides coffee and Red Bull and vitamin water. That's pretty much it. Anyways, we are kicking off our game picks for week 15. We always will throw these teams on our game pick lineup with Pat on the show. We have the Chiefs going to Cleveland. Cleveland is a 4.5 point underdog. Yeah, like I said, it's in Cleveland. Pat, I know you need to lead us off. Again, Jameis last week, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. What does he do?
The same thing that Baker Mayfield did when Chan Henne had to come in because Pat Mahomes was hurt. Sit on his hands and watch the Browns lose and not cover. Give me the Chiefs.
All right. This was kind of a tough one, but I think I'm taking the Chiefs too. They should handle their business in this game.
Yeah, Chiefs are terrible at covering spreads, but I feel like this is one that they'll definitely cover. I think that KC defense might score more than 1 touchdown in this one.
Yeah. So that should be fun to watch. So I'll probably try to tune into that one. And now we got our division rivals, Miami's hanging onto their season by a thread. They are going to Houston. Houston is a 3-point favorite. Now I'll lead this one off. Tua and Jalen Waddle have found something. They are connecting now, and Houston is not what they were when they beat us in week 3, right? I think it was week 3.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the Dolphins here. I don't really want to see them win, but I think giving Houston the loss here is the right play.
Yeah. I put these teams about even right now, but with that, I'll just take some points along with it. So give me Miami. Pat, what about you?
I wish it was colder too. Mike McDaniel. Yeah, give me the Dolphins.
Oh, love it. Pat, you got the spreadsheet pulled up, or is your computer not?
I have it pulled up.
Here?
I can't enter this stuff though. Oh, I guess I can. Oh,
yeah. I got you, dude. I got it pulled up.
Sorry.
You had KC for the first one.
KC and then Miami.
We couldn't bait you into a Cleveland pick there.
No, that's Chad Henne should be the legend of the game for the Browns, even though he never played for them. But
funny.
Oh my God. That's another just Chiefs black magic moment.
Cheesy.
Just
So it looks like
cheesy.
over here we got Baker and the boys coming into Los Angeles.
Baker versus Herbert. LA is home team. They are a minus 3-point favorite. I'm going to take the Baker.
Oh, yeah.
Don't count this man out.
Well, how many have they won in a row? 2? I believe.
3, I believe. Tampa's on a 3-game win streak.
So, yeah, give me the Bucks.
Yeah.
And the NFC South is absolute dookie water. So if they're able to string a couple together here, it'll be a tough out in the playoffs. This team beat the Eagles.
The points really sold me. John, I'm curious about your rationale here.
I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think this Chargers team is probably the best Chargers team of the last 3-4 years. That they've never had the defense thing going for them as well. So I think Justin Herbert's probably going to take a little bit of an advantage against this Tampa Bay passing defense. So give me the Chargers, but not by more than 3.5 or so. I think it still should be close.
It's good logic. I'm here for it. Now, the Steelers have helped me out a few different times this year by taking them with the points. So I'm going to stick with that. I think the defense of the Steelers is going to make life hard for Jalen Hurts, especially against somebody that's going to really come after him.
Well, let me ask you this. Does anything about Pittsburgh scare you as a potential first-round playoff matchup? I know you don't get to pick your first-round matchup, but I feel like I would not pick Pittsburgh at this point. They've gone from like the glass house team that I always was like, yeah, of course. Like even last year, like great first-round playoff matchup. This year, I'm like, I don't want to play that. I don't want anything to do with them in the first round. Again, I think the Bills would match up decently, but it's not a guaranteed win by any means. But again, in this one, I'm going to take the points. 5 is a lot. I think this will be a good game. Brandon, is this a primetime window or is this like a 4 o'clock game?
I don't think so. I believe it's a 4:25.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a good.
Oh, so against the Bills.
Right. Yeah. Bills are also playing late window this coming week. We'll get to that one for sure. Some team that Brando likes.
I got rid of all my Lions stuff in this.
Really?
Behind me.
Pat, who do you like? Philly at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at Philly.
I'll give you the Steelers, man.
All
Give me
right.
the Steelers. I like it. Classic overachievers. I'm all about it. This next game on the slate's about to be an absolute freaking mud wrestling.
Yeah.
Like literally,
Anthony Richardson against Bo Nix. Couldn't ask for anything better, right? Yeah. So we got the Colts going into Denver. Denver's a 4-point favorite. I got the Broncos. I think this will be the Broncos all the way. I don't think it'll be close.
I'll be with you, but I mean, it's still Denver. They're not going to blow everybody out. Like they're a good team. They've been trending in the right direction, but Colts, what's the Colts playoff percentage at this point? Less than 5%?
I feel like it's higher.
Well, they
than
just
that.
won last week, right? So what are they? 7-7, 6-7?
It's 30% right now.
Well, I guess they have
30%.
to. Houston is who they'd have to compete with. 30%? All right. So I underdogged you guys.
Price pop probability of 40.8. The playoff machine says 30%. The odds at plus 145.
All right, so they got a lot to play for. So, I guess don't down them for that reason, but I'm going Denver. But Pat, what do you think?
Give me the Colts. Broncos are 8-5. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Indy for Pat.
Very boring game. Over under turnovers by both quarterbacks 5.
Oh, five's high. I might go under, but I might go exactly 4.
That's
I might go
close.
exactly 4.
4.5 might be the line, I think, right? 4.5's the line. Yeah.
3.5. Yeah. I take over 3.5.
Well, boys and girls of all ages, ladies and gentlemen across America, the game everybody wants, the game everybody needs, unless you're a Bills and a Lions fan, then it's tough. But we're here in Buffalo. We root for the Bills. We got the Detroit Lions hosting the Buffalo Bills for the first time since
2 years
2022 Thanksgiving. Yep. The Buffalo Bills are coming in at underdogs, 2.5-point underdogs in Ford Field in the madhouse that they call home in Detroit. Boys, are we ready for it?
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, I'll just go first because you guys know who I have to pick, obligated to pick the Bills. And this year has actually worked out pretty nice, whereas last year it did not at all. Bills were terrible against the spread last year. This year it's been good. Anyway, I want to, I'll look into this after the show, but I want to dig up the historical stats of how often an AFC and an NFC opponent have played at the same place within 2 years in history, because I think it has to have only happened these past couple of years with the 17 game season, because they were a cross-conference opponent for one of these schedules. So they were the number 1 seed of a random cross conference opponent. And then obviously 2 years ago, the Bills were playing the NFC North, right? That's how that worked out.
Yeah.
So interesting there.
Unless it's a Super Bowl matchup. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the location.
Exactly. You wouldn't be at someone else because it'd be a neutral field. So
it's an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah. So
there.
Playing twice at Detroit, and also if you want to get real nifty, can you go back to the last snow game where they played a quote unquote home game in Detroit at Ford Field?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Well, that was the Browns game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they've done that more than once in the past 10 years, right? So how many times do you think the Bills have played at Ford Field in the last 10 years? 4 or 5?
Probably.
That's got to be got to be a record for a cross conference opponent, I would think.
I'm not mad about it because they, in theory, should be in the same division with the probably Packers, Lions, Bills, and Browns. Great Lakes division.
Yeah, you could have that.
Well, it just makes you think too. Like logistically, the closest team by a mile is the Browns.
Bears probably, right? But I
meant the Buffalo, the closest team by a mile is the Browns. And props to the Pagulas for not being like, all right, fiscally speaking, we should play, the stadium. It's closest to ours.
Right.
Hey,
well, it was also outdoors too. So. True. With the weather stuff when you're trying to reschedule a snow game. But
can we talk about the stadium for a second, or you guys make your game picks first?
All right, yeah, Bills for me. Pat, who you got?
You remember in Always Sunny where they do the dance routine and they think that they're like pulling all these crazy moves at the high school graduation,
and it's terrible. It's one of the best episodes of It's Always Sunny. Yeah.
I feel like that's Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde thought that they were Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. But really, they were just the drunk gang at the, high school reunion. So give me the line.
Shade. All right. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that as a Bills to win, not to cover, on your behalf, Pat. Which again is the same pick, but it's all on how you phrase it. It's all on how you package it, right?
Well, I'll just say the Bills not to cover. Everything else I guess is relative, but
that's a worldview right there. That's what that is. But sorry, Brandon.
I'm taking the points.
Brandon, go ahead with what you were going to say.
This is hard. Underdogs for the Bills is why I'm taking the points. You got to take them if you get it. If you can get points for the Bills, I always taking the points. Yeah. This is hard though.
It's going to be a tough matchup.
I would like more. I feel like the Bills should be higher underdogs. Bigger underdogs.
I mean, after last week's
Ford Field
performance, yeah.
Not even. No, I mean, last week is like, okay, we can hang with anybody sort of game, but the Ford Field effect is such a big deal for Detroit. I looked it up. They might be the number one team in history at the end of the season for winning games indoors. I think they only played like 3 outside games all year. And the greatest show on turf, the 99 Rams, I think they have the record right now. Maybe it's 14 or 15 wins
indoors
in a dome. Yeah. And these Lions are poised to break that. So extra game obviously is belongingness for all these records being broken, but give me the points in the Bills for sure.
Yeah, I like it. The thing I'm nervous about in this game is that, like, if you watched how the Bills got like methodically dissected on defense this past week, and you watched Matthew Stafford do that and his receivers, like, what's the one team in the NFL that plays offense like that you wouldn't want to face if your defense was playing like that?
Detroit Lions.
So I'm kind of nervous about that, but I feel like they'll figure it out. Honestly, like after they got carved up in the first half last week, I was like, this is a team that looks terrible on scripted drives. Like they looked terrible against Tennessee in the first quarter. And Tennessee looked like a competent offense, which they are not against this Bills defense in the scripted play. So I thought they were going to figure out by the second half. They didn't, obviously. So got a full week now. They'll definitely figure it out by that point. So
I think the Lions are like exponentially better than the Rams too.
Right.
Gibbs in Montgomery, St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Goff.
Well, if Jameson Williams can keep his,
he is. He's doing a good job. He had like 90 yards last week. He's been a great fantasy pickup this year.
Yeah.
Been waiting for 4 years for this guy.
But. So what do you think the sweat factor goes up or down? If we lose this game, are you pretty much like, give me the Patriots twice, everything else, the cards will fall where they will. We're not racing against the Chiefs. Let's say the Chiefs win. We're 2 games back at this point from that 1 seed. Are you okay with whatever happens for the rest of the season if we lose this game and the Chiefs?
I think
win?
you have to be, because it is a little bit of a reset of where our expectations went to, but it's regressing to the mean of where our expectations started at the season, right? And it's still better. It's still better than what we thought it was going to be at the beginning. Like, a 4-loss season, I think anybody and their cousin would have signed up for that at the start of the season.
My cousins are all Lions fans, so they're telling me to get out of here.
Right. Yeah, there's that. But
the interesting thing is, I still think we drop another. I don't like, generally speaking, we drop a game like a Patriots game, right?
It's not a guaranteed win.
It's not a guaranteed win. Even if one of those last 3 games, we could still lose. It's weird for us to lose a game in December as a Bills fan, but I'm really not too worried about it. They have a tough grind here. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. What do you want this stretch to be? Do you care if it's 2-2? Do you care if it's 1-3? Do you care if it's 3-1 or 4-0? And I think that either way, that in this AFC playoffs, I'm cool with taking the 4 seed, even if we have everything locked up and we can rest that last week. We have not been able to rest ever in that last week of the season. Allen has played every single week 18 or week 17 game. I mean, he might have played half of a game one time where the
that Dolphins game
beat the Dolphins, right? Or the backups, one of those two. So,
but the 2 seed means something. It's not like 1 seed or bust. Like the 2 seed means 2 home playoff games, right? And it means not playing the Chiefs until the AFC Championship potentially, right?
I'm not even worried about them, man. We're going to smoke them whether it's the second round or the third round. I think we need to do something different that we haven't done to get a different result, and that extra rest for these guys is going to be huge. So I think if you're locked in, if the difference is between the 3 and the 4 seed, I'm not upset about
at that point.
If we
rest
take
the starters,
I'm not upset with if we rest the starters in that last week and we lose that game. So I just out of a hat, let's do something a little different this year. Let's rest these guys.
Yeah, we could use it. Obviously, that doesn't help you in the wild card round if you sustain injuries in that point, which is what undid last season, if we're being honest. Christian Benford and Terrell Bernard go down in that game against the Steelers.
Rasul Douglas is on one leg.
Right. So that's the big deal there. But
I mean, currently as well. But
right. Yeah. Well,
does Micah Hyde play this Lions game?
I think Micah Hyde is a break glass in case of emergency at this point, I would think, but I don't know. I feel like that doesn't change this past week because of, what occurred on the defensive side of the ball, right?
I don't know. Let's say Damar Hamlin can hang out for a little bit on the sideline.
I was telling, jeez.
I wouldn't be
Love
upset
you, Damar.
with it. Yeah.
Love you, Damar, but the man looks like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a rough game for this entire.
What did you say
Bills
about
defense.
Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer?
It's just
earlier.
It doesn't discount the fact that they do cosplay as Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, but I'll let Micah get out there and have his Kirby Joseph jersey under his real Buffalo Bills jersey, but just I don't know if they get lit up, the secondary gets lit up like they did. Last week, I guess, like you said, there's a lot
I
of
think
other
if they don't get lit up against this Detroit offense, it'll be a huge win. I think if you hold them to less than 32 points, I think I might. What point total would you sign up for today to hold the Lions to?
32.
32?
You nailed it, man. I think 31-32. Yeah.
Right? And you got to score that many.
I think we could score 32 points with our eyes closed, honestly.
I mean, that's what the Bills team has been doing this year, which is crazy.
They're walking 35 points a game.
Which is crazy because I haven't thought of this Bills offense as good as the 2020, 2021 offenses, which statistically they might be better. Which is the crazy part.
That's a good debate.
So that we'll have to have that next time. But before we go, I want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you guys, as always, by Small City Realty. If you're looking to buy, sell, or manage property in Western New York, call our guy, Zach Korzelius, at 585-409-1088. Again, that's buying, selling, or managing property in Western New York. He's our guy, 585-409-1088.
Great game this weekend. Enjoy it. This is one of those games you're going to enjoy, right? Sit down, get some food.
Super Bowl preview? Super Bowl preview?
I sure as hell hope not, man. I sure
really?
Hope not.
There's a 100%.
I don't want them to play each other. I don't want them to play each other.
sorry, I'm not trying to start a topic here, but like if you like both teams, you're guaranteed a decent outcome.
Somebody's got to lose, and I do not want to live through the Bills losing another Super Bowl.
That's
all
true.
right, like I just missed those on the one end. All right, I don't know if the Bills could beat them. We're gonna see how they match up. This Lions team is a wagon, man. Dan Campbell's outstanding, and Sean McDermott leaves a little doubt in my mind. So this Lions team on paper is better than the Bills. And it was the same thing 2 years ago. I mean, the Lions were not as good 2 years ago, but Josh Allen was better than Jared Goff. And Jared Goff missed throws in that Thanksgiving Day game that would have won them the game.
Right.
And Allen did not. He had the best throw of his career to Stephon Diggs, according to my Mount Rushmore. So,
according to friend of the show, Brando.
How much better is Allen than Goff is the only difference. I think it is the hope that you can swing on it, and we freaking got a superhero. So I think there's a chance. So I'm just nervous.
I think if they lose this game, we're going to talk about how much Jared Goff compared to Josh Allen. It's going to be the Detroit defensive and offensive lines compared to the Bills defensive lines, because I think that it's going to be a trenches thing. For sure.
Well, that's what they were reading off the weight dynamics between the two.
Well, you ever see the Sunday Night Football? The Eagles have this too, where they do their PFF grade for their line, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 7. Yeah. It's like, oh, you got the best players at these positions, so that's just great like for you guys.
NFC Pro Bowl team lining up. It's all it's like that. It's like the Bills used to be when they had. Those four, the cold front,
Richie,
not. No, I was gonna say Eric defensive
Wood.
Line when they had Mario and Jerry,
Kyle,
and
Darius.
Thank you. Those were the four. 3 Pro Bowlers.
Did a pretty good job with that.
3 Pro Bowlers, 1 snub out of those 4 that one year. But
John, I think the matchup is McDermott versus Campbell, right? Who are you taking? You got a gun to your head, you pick one. It's Dan Campbell 20 out of 10 times, right?
In a physical fight, obviously.
In any capacity ever, I think Dan Campbell's the guy. I don't know if I feel the way about McDermott. I don't dislike him. Dan Campbell's
McDermott's homework
excellent.
for this week is pull out an Xbox controller and play Madden for a week and just get some experience with every scenario that you could ever experience. Like, how do I play this? How do I use my timeouts? I feel like any average Madden player is watching these games going, this is what you should do right here. This is how you should play this. And I feel like Sean McDermott has had hundreds of games of coaching of experience is not anything compared to thousands of games of Madden when it comes to decision making. It's like,
we know more than McDermott, basically.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Madden is more important. I'm just saying that, as far as reps, like if you're thinking of it as reps and situations and decision making, it's like we've had to go through some lumps to learn some things, quote unquote, right? And we still had covered 0 blitzes happening in weird situations on a 4th down, which I don't want to bring that up.
And also, quote unquote, the most effective scouting is self-scouting.
Exactly. So
we'll see.
And as coach speak goes, those mental reps are important, right? Those mental reps.
Pick up an Xbox controller, Sean. It'll help a little bit. By the way, I just want to say, I still think Sean is the best coach for this team. He just upsets us at least once a year at a very high level.
If you put Dan Campbell on this team, I think you might say that.
Bro, Dan Campbell is good at.
I think that, McDermott did what Campbell did. He came to a bad franchise. He changed the culture, and they're winning now. And Dan Campbell did it just a little differently, right? I don't know. McDermott seems kind of like a square. Not
I think
in a
there's
bad
a lot
way,
less knee biting happening in the Bills.
But when is the last super passionate coach other than Sean McVay that you can think of that won the Super Bowl? They're all pretty much serial killer.
I bet you Bill Belichick would call himself pretty passionate about the game of football. As the dude goes to college to get a head coaching job now just because he misses the game so much. Did you see that? University of North Carolina.
Well, he interviewed. Did he take it?
That's the rumor right now on the radio. People were breaking that news. I don't know how true that is at the moment.
We'll see. He'll probably have accepted by the time this episode comes out. But
all right. Well, I have a Brando's bet question before we go. What are the odds Penei Sewell anytime reception or anytime touchdown? Is that listed?
That's a good question.
And if so, can you bet?
You'd have to go to some pretty sketchy books to find lines on those, I would think. But I think it's possible.
I don't know. Penei Sewell's caught a pass in a lot of games, dude. Penei Sewell's got to have at least
Tony
2
Soprano,
receptions.
that's not
even if you could find that, you're not going to get a fair line for sure on that. Like, you know, they'll put it as like plus 1,000, even though the real odds should be like plus 2 to 5,000 or something like
4,000.
that. But yeah, interesting. Okay, so Pat, put it on the bet board. Pat is betting a Penei Sewell reception or touchdown reception. So mark it down. He had a pass attempt last week, right? So crazier things have happened.
Trick play, those odds are like plus 200, right? Like not even, probably less than that.
I was gonna say it's almost a guaranteed with those Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. You guys know where to find us on all platforms at Not Buff Podcasts. We will see you next week. Hopefully we're not on a 2-game losing streak, but even if we are, everything's going to be okay. Still got the division in the bag. Still got all the important games ahead of us. So with that, we'll see you guys.
We got Josh Allen under center.
That guy, pretty important guy. So, all right. We'll see you guys next week. Go Bills.
Go Bills.